May the Noble Triple Gem bless you all. This is the inaugural session of the Siwmaga Shakya Puthra English program. The Siwmaga Shakya Puthra Sinhala program was there for the Sri Lankan students who can converse well in Sinhala. And we have been conducting it for some time now, and there have been several requests made by you who are there, who are the students who are learning overseas, who cannot communicate in Sinhala. They made us a request to conduct a parallel program to the Siwmaga Shakya Puthra Sinhala program. Therefore, as a result of those requests, those countless requests, finally, your expectation has come to reality. So we will be conducting on every Poi day similar kind of a program. Therefore, this is our first program, and you will see how to apply the core teachings of the Lord Buddha, which he has exposed about 2,500 years ago, and how to facilitate us to apply those teachings in our day-to-day life. And therefore, we can eradicate this suffering. Okay, children. How are you leading your life? Are you happy? We all are in search of nothing but happiness. In everything that we do, we look forward for an everlasting happiness. We try our best to search for such kind of an everlasting happiness. It matters not what we do. It matters not when we do. It matters not where we do anything. We are looking for happiness. As students, you might come across difficult situations in your lives. And how would you handle such situations? For example, when you are being bullied by your colleagues, when your friend starts bullying you, calling names, would you like that kind of experience? Obviously not, right? So when you are exposed to such kind of an experience, how would you help yourself? How would you keep yourself calm? And how would you make yourself happy? Will you be able to do that? Therefore, children, we are learning this Buddhist philosophy, the teachings of the Lord Buddha, just to make ourselves happy. It will teach us the way towards our happiness. Let's try an example. Just imagine that one of your friends start calling you names. You don't like that experience, would you? No, you don't. Yes. So, you want to be called by your beautiful name, and your parents gave that name. Since you're so precious to them, they gave you such a beautiful name. But your friends, they just ignore your beautiful name and start calling you ugly names. And you can't bear that situation, right? And what would you do in such situations? You will start complaining that to your teacher at first, and you would tell that to your parents, but your friends, they never give up. How would you help yourself? Children, what we need to know here is we are getting those things for a reason. We'll have to understand that reason. Because as you may have learned in your physics lessons, that Newton has once said for each and every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Likewise, your life is the same. If you give something to the society and to your friends or anyone, what you get will be dependent on what you give. So we will be talking about this concept called what you give is what you get. Therefore, children, if you don't like to be bullied, you should stop bullying others. If you keep on doing so, you will never stop getting bullied. Therefore, children, if you are getting bullied, what should you do? At first, you should stop bullying others, because that is what make you eligible to get bullied continuously. If you stop bullying others, and if you treat them nicely, if you can call them by their name, and if you make them happy, if you facilitate them to smile always, you will get the same. Therefore, children, if you don't realize this, you will continuously complain to your teachers and your parents. That is okay. There's nothing wrong with telling it to your teachers or parents. But there's something wrong if you start retaliating, whoever that might be. It might be your friends or anyone else. It matters not who the person is. Therefore, children, we have to build the skill of looking at the world in a different way. That is what we are trying to do by understanding and realizing these teachings of the Lord Buddha. He has exposed these teachings 2,500 years ago, but those teachings are still valid even today. Therefore, children, let us explore to the core teachings of the Lord Buddha. He has told that our expectation to be happy is what makes us to suffer. It's like a riddle. It's like a paradox. Did you understand that? If you want to be happy, you will start doing something, because that is a useful endeavor, because you want to be happy. And can you be at rest if you want something? No. You will start looking for it. You can't be at rest because you want something. Therefore, if you like to be called by your name, and if you want to be treated nicely, and what happens when you don't get it? You will become sad, and there will be suffering in your mind. Therefore, children, the best way to become happy is to eradicate this expectation and wantings. It is not an easy task to do all at once. It's obviously a stepwise process. First, we'll have to understand how this suffering happens. Because children, as I explained to you earlier, this thing that you get now, you get it for a reason. It is a worthwhile effort to look and to search and to explore the reason for this. We'll be talking about this topic. What you give is what you get. Because everything that we get happens for a reason. The very reason for that is that we have given the same in our past. It matters not when we have given it. We must have, otherwise there's no reason why we get this. Therefore, children, try to look at the world in a different kind of lens. If you can see yourself within a person that is not you, then you will be able to do this. Let me simplify this. Let me rephrase what I just said. Let me explain using a metaphor. Have you been in front of the mirror? You must have, right? Even today you must have been in front of the mirror. When you wanted to brush your teeth, where did you go? Obviously in front of the mirror, right? Who do you see in front of the mirror? You see yourself. Is it you? But you are in front of the mirror. You are not inside the mirror. Yes, it is your mirror image. And your mirror image is not you, right? Okay, let's say that you want to brush your teeth. What will you do? You'll take some toothpaste to your brush and you apply it on the mirror, right? Because whatever the teeth that is visible is in the mirror. Would you ever do that? No. If you can see the teeth is with all the dirty particles, you have to clean them, right? But you can't see your teeth. But you can see the teeth of the mirror image. But what would you do? You would clean the teeth in your mouth. There's no point of cleaning the mirror image. Why? Because it's just an image. If you want to clean the mirror image, if you want to clean the dirt of the mirror image, what should you clean in the first place? You have to clean your teeth in the first place. When you have cleaned your teeth, what happens to the mirror image? That is also cleaned. Likewise, if you want to correct something, if you want to correct something of the mirror image, we have to correct it in ourselves. Then only the mirror image will be corrected. So let's apply that simple analogy to our day-to-day life. Just imagine, one friend of yours is calling you names, is bullying you, is telling different things that you don't like to listen to. What are you looking at? It's your mirror image. If you fail to see that it's your mirror image, you will try to correct the image, but not you. That is what happens, children. It never stops. Have you seen little kittens or dogs, those kinds of animals, when they are exposed to a mirror, how do they respond? How do they react? Sometimes these little kittens, they're frightened by their own mirror image. At times, they get so afraid of their own mirror image and they'll start to fight against it. Dogs might even bark at their own mirror image. That is how the animals react. But have you ever seen people doing so? Have you ever seen people blaming their own mirror image? No. Why? Because they have realized, they have come to their senses that it is nothing but their own mirror image. Because there's no point of blaming at the mirror image, because that's just the reflection of yourself. Then children, what about the person who is blaming you or who is calling you names? If he is just your reflection, is there any point of blaming back at him? No, because it's just the image. It's just the reflection of oneself. So where should we correct? what should be corrected? We should correct ourselves. Then only the mirror image will be corrected. Therefore, children, you might have seen some children who treat their parents and their teachers and their friends so nicely, and they never call them by any words. They're so friendly with them. They are only treated by their friends in the harsh way very rarely. I don't say that they never get to those kinds of treatment by them. That doesn't happen. But they are reaping the results of their own actions. If you're friendly with your friends, then only you will get the friendship from your friends. If you are not good at winning your friends' hearts, and if you are not good at making your parents or teachers happy, you won't earn the trust of your parents and teachers, and you will be labeled as a bad student or as a bad kid. Therefore, we earn what we reap. We have to be responsible for what we get, because it's the result of our own actions. Children, if you can practice this in your day-to-day life, your life will become much more easy, because you are seeing the world in a different light, and you will try to correct yourself, but the others. It is much easier to correct one's own self, right? Because if you want to correct the world, how many times, how many years would you take to correct this whole world? That will be a very difficult task, wouldn't it be? Of course. Therefore, now we learn one lesson. When we live in our lives, we have to think of all the experience that we get as we are in front of the mirror. If we fail to do this, we might be yelling at our own mirror image. Therefore, if we give something bad, then we will get it. If we want to be treated nicely, then we have to treat others nicely. Then only we will reap the happiness that we all of us are searching for. Therefore, children, if you are so curious about learning new things and trying out new things, trying out new trends, you have to keep this in the mind. When you want to try something new, you will start searching for it. And when you search for it, you will start facing some barriers, and there might be some difficulties. You might need some help from your friends, from your teachers, from your parents, and from your siblings. And when you do so, you will have to make some requests. And when you make those requests, not every request is successful. Sometimes they might fail. When you face with such failures, are you ready to accept those failures? Our mind works in a very different way when we come across failures. When you face failures in life, it's a very uncomfortable situation. Usually we don't like to face failures. When we face failures, we look down upon ourselves because it's such an unbearable situation. How would you face failures? How would you look at it in a different light? That will be discussed in a future sermon like this. Therefore now, for today, we learned something new. We learned to see the world in a different light. Children, if you try to do this, you will be able to see yourself in others. And you will stop pointing your finger at others. Because pointing a finger at others will gain you something new that you would like the return of it. Because that is not something that you like, to be treated in such a way. If you can imagine to be another, to be the person who is listening to yourself when you are pointing your finger at them, then you wouldn't do that, would you? Because you don't like to be treated like that. Therefore, children, we first have to correct ourselves because we are living in front of the mirror. What we give is what we get. If we can practice this concept in our day-to-day life, we can maintain the happiness that we all look forward to. Therefore, children, that brings us to the end of today's sermon. So, let us get together and transfer all these merits that we have gathered by listening to this sermon to all sentient beings. If they have born in a woeful plane, let they be redeemed of those woeful planes, and they be born in the blissful plane. And may they redeem themselves from the unmeritorious deeds. May they fulfill the noble eightfold path and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May the noble teachers
May the Noble Triple Gem bless you all. We are the students of Siwmaga Dhamma School.
It's been a long time since we joined the Siwmaga Dhamma School of our monastery.
We have learned a lot of things by coming to the monastery and joining the Siwmaga.
Today we are going to tell you a little about it.
Now you will witness the meritorious deeds done by some of our students and their abilities.
These kinds of meritorious deeds will only happen with the advent of a Samma Sambuddha. Every week we look forward to Saturday. We are delighted to join Siwmaga every Saturday because we can do many meritorious deeds.
At the same time, we gain a lot from what our teachers teach us.
Our parents have an aspiration that we will become great humans in the future by attending Siwmaga.
We are ever so grateful to our parents who have entrusted us to the Siwmaga Dhamma School.
Let's recite Namaskara. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Theruvan Sarnai, everyone. Today, I'm going to tell you a fascinating story about a woman who had to fight for her liberation. Her fight for the right to ordain. Some may even say she was one of the most strong-willed women in history. The stepmother of Prince Siddhartha and the mother of the Bhikkhuni ministry. Do you know who she was? Yes, it is. Venerable Mahaprajapati Gautami Theri. 100,000 long years ago, in the beautiful city of Hansavati, she was fortunate to be born in the era of the Padumuttara Samma Sambuddha as a girl. As she grew up, she learnt about the Lord Buddha and decided to listen to the Dhamma. One day, as she went into the monastery to listen to a sermon, she saw the rare sight of the Lord Buddha appointing the title of the foremost among bhikkhunis to realize the Four Noble Truths to a certain bhikkhuni. When she saw this, she was awestruck. The young girl made a firm resolve to become like her, the foremost of the nuns in a future Sambuddha Sasana. She had made this nun her role model and aspired to be like her. Therefore, she started to do many meritorious deeds, and after 7 days, the Lord Buddha Padumuttara prophesied that she would become like her in the time of the Gautama Buddha. She continued doing many meritorious deeds, and upon her death was born in the heavens. She lived a life full of pleasure. And after 100,000 years, she was reborn in the kingdom of Benares. She was born a girl, and she grew older. She became the leader of 500 maids. One day, she was going to the river to fetch some water when she saw 5 Pachika Buddhas looking for a place to observe the rain's retreat. Seeing the Buddhas, she ran up to them, paid her respects, and went about to her work. Later, she found out that the Pacheka Buddhas had arrived at her master's house. Her master, upon seeing them, had refused to give them a place to stay. When she heard this, she was devastated and wanted to do something. So, she got all the other servants together, all 500 maids and their husbands, and came up with a plan. She told them about the Pachika Buddhas looking for a place to reside for the rain's retreat period. Everyone was happy to help. So, they decided to make cabins for all 5 Pachika Buddhas. Then they all gathered and invited the 5 Pachika Buddhas to observe the 3 months rain's retreat there. And the monks silently accepted. During the rain's retreat, they all got together and treated the Pachika Buddhas with utmost devotion to their level best. We have to bear in mind that they were not rich, nor did they have a lot, as they were maids. Therefore, these maids sacrificed whatever they had and gave all of it to the Pachika Buddhas. At the end of the rain's retreat, the Pachika Buddhas returned to Gandhamana rock. The head maid and her 500 maids continued to conduct meritorious deeds. At the end of their lives, they were born in the heavens. The chief maid was born again as a girl in a weaver's village in Benares. Due to her merits, this time she was born to the family of the chief of the village. One day, a group of 500 Pachika Buddhas was walking with empty alms bowls. She again had the opportunity to offer alms to all the 500 Pachika Buddhas as best as she could. Due to her accumulated merits, she was once again born in the heavens, after which she was born again in the human plane for the last time. In her last birth, she was born into the family of King Mahasuppa Buddha in Devdaha in Namadeva. Her name was Princess Gautami. She had an elder sister who was called Princess Mahamaya. Strangely, the astrologers who checked their horoscopes said that both of these sisters would bear a single child who would become a wheel-turning monarch one day. King Suddhodana married these two princesses and made Queen Mahamaya the foremost of the queens and Queen Gautami the second foremost queen. After some time, Queen Mahamaya bore a beautiful child, or Siddhartha, the Buddha aspirant. 7 days after this majestic occurrence of giving birth, she passed away. Who will now take care of the Bodhisattva prince? Who will look after him? Queen Gautami didn't hesitate a moment to accept the child as its stepmother. She had also become the foremost of the queens by then and received the name Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami. She doted on Prince Siddhartha. After some time, she bore a child named Prince Nanda. Without delay, she gave her baby to the royal wet nurses to look after and gave her undivided attention to the Bodhisattva, the Prince Siddhartha. After many decades, in the later stage of life, her husband, King Suddhodana, became a devotee and listened to the teachings. And finally, on his deathbed, he attained the utmost state of arahanthood as he listened to the Lord Buddha preach to him. After the king's tragic death, Queen Mahaprajapati Gautami had the idea to ordain. But the only problem was that women were not allowed to ordain. But she was not willing to give up. She knew that the Lord Buddha was residing in the monastery Ingiriya in the city of Kapilavatthu. She went to see Lord Buddha and beseeched, "My Lord, could you in all your mercy grant permission for women to go forth from home into homelessness and practice the Dhamma and discipline proclaimed by the Truth Finder?" The Lord Buddha refused the request and answered, "Let it be, Gautami, don't pursue this." Again she asked the Buddha. Again, the Buddha rejected. She asked it a third time, and his answer, rejection. Queen Mahaprajapati was heartbroken, disappointed, and shattered by the refusal. she returned to the palace with tearful eyes. But you see, she wasn't ready to give up that easily. The wish the queen had for ordination was irresistible. She had lost her husband, King Suddhodana, her sons, Prince Siddhartha and Prince Nanda, and her nephew, Prince Rahula. All of them had received the salvation of Sri Sambuddha Sasana. She was a woman with courage and determination. She simply wouldn't give up. She had already made a firm resolve to somehow get the Lord's permission for the ordination of women. But this time, her argument needed to be stronger. She had conjured up a better plan. Most of the Shakyan ladies had given their spouses up to the Sambuddha Sasana, including Princess Yashodhara, the wife of Prince Siddhartha, and Princess Sundarinanda, the wife of Prince Nanda. Queen Prajapati gathered 500 noble ladies. They were all princesses who grew up with everything they had ever wanted, bathed in luxury, fed the finest food. However, each and every one of them was willing to give it all up, give up everything to seek their salvation. To prove their point, they all got in line and removed something which they had all took pride in, their hair. They all happily shaved off their hair. Children, can you shave off your hair to get something you want? Are you willing to do anything for your goal? Just imagine the amount of determination they must have had. They removed their fine opulent clothing and wore coarse crimson robes. Let us not forget, they were princesses. If they had to go somewhere, they went on palanquins carried by strong, handsome men. The beautiful, soft, supple feet may never have touched the dirt on the floor. Yet, they walked from the city of Kapilavatthu to the city of Vesali, barefoot. They walked for days on end. On the way, they had to face many obstacles. You see, they were from the Shakyan clan. They were incomparably beautiful women. Kings, princes, and wealthy barons came running, asking for their hand in marriage. But that was not going to stop them from achieving their goal. Remember, I said that they were not used to walking. Their tender feet were blistered and red with blood and wounds. But they kept moving because nothing could stop them from achieving the ultimate bliss. They went to the hall with the peaked roof in the great wood in the city of Vesali. Queen Prajapati took the lead and entered the monastery. She waited at the door with the 500 noble ladies. She stood outside the gateway, tearful, yet hopeful, covered in dust and swollen feet. Venerable Ananda Thero saw them at the entrance and asked them why they had come. Venerable Ananda, the Buddha does not permit women to go forth. Well then, Gautami, please wait here for a moment while I ask the Lord on your behalf. He understood their noble intention, felt a strong empathy towards them, and went to see the Lord Buddha. He told him that Mahaprajapati Gautami and 500 ladies were outside, asking permission for ordination. The Lord Buddha rejected the proposal. Venerable Ananda asked for approval again, but Lord Buddha again dismissed it. But out of great compassion and having seen the amount of adversity the woman had gone through to make this noble request, Venerable Ananda thought, why don't I ask him another way? He then said, if women were allowed to go forth, would they be capable of realizing the fruit of stream entry, the fruit of once returner, the fruit of non-returner, and finally become arhants? They most certainly can, Ananda, replied the Lord Buddha. If that's so, sir, and considering that Mahaprajapati has been very helpful to you, she is your stepmother after all, who nurtured you, brought you up, and breastfed you when your own mother died. It would be good if women were allowed to go forth. Ananda, if Mahaprajapati accepts the 8 strict rules, that will be her full ordination, replied the Lord Buddha. The Lord Buddha imposed these 8 strict rules, commonly referred to as Attagaru Dhamma, to safeguard nuns. When Venerable Ananda presented these 8 strict rules to the Queen Prajapati, she accepted them as though she was asked to wear a crown of flowers. She was elated and received higher ordination as Venerable Prajapati Gautami Theri. The other 500 noble Shakyan ladies were also ordained and received higher ordination that same day. One day, Venerable Prajapati went to see Lord Buddha. She paid her homage and sat on a side. The Lord Buddha preached the Dhamma and she became an Arahant. Then the other 500 venerable bhikkhunis listened to Nanda Kovada Sutta and became Arahants. When Lord Buddha offered the foremost positions to bhikkhunis, Venerable Prajapati Gautami received the position of foremost of the nuns to have realized the 4 noble truths. He started to praise the greatest virtues of Lord Buddha. The greatest of all, the Lord Buddha, has rescued me from sansaric suffering. I worship the Almighty. I have ceased all suffering and attained supreme bliss. This is my last birth, and I will not be born again. As she approached to the end of her life, Venerable Prajapati thought, I should leave this world before Lord Buddha or Venerable Sariputra or Venerable Moggallana pass away. I do not wish to witness their passing away. So, I will visit Lord Buddha and ask permission to pass away. The very thought that arose in Venerable Gautami also arose in the minds of the other 500 bhikkhunis. They all discussed and agreed. We all left our lay lives together. We gave up our fetters that kept us bound to samsara together. So, let's go to Parinibbana together. They all went to see the Lord Buddha, who was staying in Kotagara Shala in Vesali. They all worshipped Lord Buddha and sat by his side. Venerable Gautami said, "The greatest one, I'm your mother. You are my father. You gave me ultimate bliss. I raised your body of flesh. You raised my body of Dhamma. I fed you my breast milk. You fed me the milk of Dhamma. The honor of being called Buddha Mata, the mother of the Lord Buddha, is rare. I have received that title. I would like to leave this body and attain Nibbana. Please grant me your permission to do so." She worshipped the feet of the Lord Buddha. "Dear Sir, please forgive me for any wrong I have done. I requested ordination for women so many times. Please forgive me for all my mistakes." Then the Lord Buddha said, "Virtuous Gautami, you have not done any wrong. So, why do you apologize? You are an honorable person." All bhikkhunis worshipped Lord Buddha and went to see Venerable Ananda, Venerable Nanda, and Venerable Rahula, and informed them that they were all leaving this world together. All of the monks, apart from Venerable Ananda, were arhants, so they remained equanimous on hearing this. Venerable Gautami talked to Venerable Ananda, who was lamenting. "Venerable Ananda, you should not mourn. You assisted me in realizing Nibbana. Being requested by you, the Lord Buddha gave us ordination. Don't be distressed, as your efforts have borne fruits." The Lord Buddha made one final request from Venerable Gautami. "There are those who doubt that women can gain the realization of Dhamma. It is now your opportunity to dispel these wrong views." After that, she narrated her life story in front of the congregation of the Sangha. She finally paid her homage to Lord Buddha and Mahasangha and left. The Lord Buddha and the monks who were at the gathering got up from their seats and walked behind Venerable Prajapati Gautami. The crowd gathered around and started to lament and cry. Venerable Gautami uttered her final words to soothe them. "Dear children, everything in this world is in a transient state, and so has been life. Don't mourn. The time is of the essence. Find your salvation." Venerable Gautami and the 500 nuns finally passed in Parinibbana. Can you imagine how inspirational she was? She was a devoted and virtuous mother to all sentient beings. The courage she had was enormous. She never gave up on her resolve. Despite all the obstacles she had to go through. Her commitment to bringing salvation to all women was unparalleled. Today, we have the Bhikkhuni Sasana because of her. So, she's a role model to all of us. So, dear children, how did you feel listening to the story of one of the greatest women in history? How much are you willing to sacrifice to become like her? You listened to a story of someone who was willing to go any length to achieve happiness that is everlasting. Sometimes in life, we have to bear difficulties and hardships to get to the ultimate bliss. Do you feel you're someone who is prepared to make such a sacrifice? These are some of the questions I want to leave you with. And I hope that from today's story, you have been able to find a role model for life. May the Noble Triple Gem be with you.